White supremacist gangs are among the most dangerous extremist groups in the world. They promote hate, engage in violent activities, and pose a serious threat to communities and law enforcement. In this video, we'll examine 5 of the most notorious white supremacist gangs, their history, their impact, and what is being done to combat them. The Aryan Brotherhood, founded in the 1960s inside U.S. prisons, is one of the most violent and well-organized white supremacist gangs. Originally formed for protection in prisons, the gang has expanded its operations to drug trafficking, extortion, and murder for hire. Law enforcement has worked tirelessly to dismantle the group through federal prosecutions, but its influence remains strong. The Aryan Brotherhood was founded in 1964 at San Quentin State Prison in California by white inmates seeking to protect themselves against other prison gangs. It emerged as a response to racial tensions and soon developed into a highly structured and secretive criminal organization. Estimates suggest the Aryan Brotherhood has around 15,000 to 20,000 members both inside and outside of prison. They wield significant power over drug distribution, extortion, and contract killings, operating with military-style discipline and enforcing loyalty through extreme violence. There have been cases where law enforcement officers were found to be complicit with Aryan Brotherhood activities, either through corruption, intimidation, or personal affiliations. In some instances, officers have been charged for aiding gang members by smuggling contraband or leaking intelligence. To become a member, recruits must commit a violent act, often murder, on behalf of the gang, proving their loyalty and willingness to follow orders without question. Membership is considered a lifelong commitment, and leaving the gang is often met with fatal consequences. The Aryan Brotherhood has been responsible for some of the most heinous crimes in U.S. prison history. This includes orchestrated murders of rivals, drug trafficking rings, and violent attacks on law enforcement officials. Notably, in the 1980s, they carried out a series of high-profile contract killings, both inside and outside prison walls. Despite their racial ideology, the Aryan Brotherhood has formed strategic alliances with Latino and other prison gangs, including the Mexican Mafia, to expand their drug distribution networks. They often align with groups that can provide financial and logistical advantages. Today, the Aryan Brotherhood continues to operate within the U.S. prison system and in the streets, though law enforcement efforts have led to numerous arrests and convictions of key leaders. Their decentralized structure allows them to persist despite crackdowns. Federal agencies remain vigilant in monitoring and dismantling their criminal enterprises. Next up, Combat 18, founded in the early 1990s in the United Kingdom, is an international neo-Nazi terror group linked to violent attacks and murders. The number 18 stands for Adolf Hitler's initials, a clear nod to their ideological beliefs. Governments in multiple countries have banned the group, and law enforcement agencies have cracked down on its activities. Combat 18 was founded in 1992 by Charlie Sargent, a British neo-Nazi, alongside other far-right extremists. The group was initially formed as a militant wing of the British National Party, BNP, to serve as enforcers against political opponents and immigrants. However, internal conflicts led to Sargent's imprisonment, and the group evolved into a decentralized terrorist network. While estimates vary, Combat 18 is believed to have several hundred active members, with sympathizers and affiliates across Europe, North America, and Australia. They have been involved in violent attacks, including arson, bombings, and assassinations of political opponents and minorities. Over the years, investigations have uncovered instances of law enforcement officers having ties to Combat 18, either through shared ideology or direct collaboration. Some officers have been exposed for leaking information to members or failing to act against their criminal activities. Recruitment into Combat 18 often involves committing acts of violence against perceived enemies, such as anti-fascist activists or immigrants. The group operates in a highly secretive manner, and members must prove unwavering loyalty to their white supremacist cause. Combat 18 has been linked to numerous violent crimes, including the 1999 London nail bombings carried out by a sympathizer, David Copeland, who targeted Black, South Asian, and LGBTQ+ communities. The group has also been responsible for racially motivated murders, including attacks on asylum seekers and political figures. Combat 18 has alliances with various international neo-Nazi and far-right extremist groups, including Blood and Honor, a white supremacist music network that serves as a recruitment tool. However, internal divisions and leadership struggles have weakened their cohesion over the years. Although the group has been officially banned in several countries, Combat 18 continues to operate underground. Law enforcement agencies remain vigilant, monitoring its members and preventing potential acts of terrorism. Despite setbacks, the ideology they promote persists within far-right extremist circles. Next up, Blood and Honor started in the 1980s as a white supremacist music network promoting hate through racist rock music. Over time, it evolved into a global extremist group linked to violent attacks. Governments in Canada, Germany, and other nations have classified it as a terrorist organization, making membership and related activities illegal. Blood and Honor was founded in 1987 in the United Kingdom by Ian Stewart Donaldson, the lead singer of the neo-Nazi punk band Screwdriver. Originally a music-based movement, it quickly became a recruitment tool for white supremacist extremists. Blood and Honor operates internationally, with chapters in Europe, North America, and Australia. Though membership numbers are unclear, their influence extends beyond music as they facilitate meetings and training for violent neo-Nazi organizations. There have been cases where police officers have been linked to Blood and Honor, either as sympathizers or covert members. Authorities have investigated and prosecuted officers who provided protection or leaked information to the group. Despite government crackdowns, Blood and Honor continues to spread its ideology through underground music networks and encrypted online platforms. Law enforcement agencies remain vigilant in dismantling their operations. Next up, the Nordic resistance movement, NRM, is an extremist neo-Nazi group active in Sweden, Norway, and Finland. Known for its violent ideology, the NRM has been involved in bombings, assaults, and hate crimes. Authorities in Finland have outlawed the group, and other Scandinavian countries are closely monitoring its activities. The Nordic resistance movement was founded in 1997 in Sweden by Claes Lund, a far-right extremist with a history of violent crimes. Originally created as a militant offshoot of the white Aryan resistance, the NRM aims to establish a pan-Nordic, white ethno-state based on National Socialism. The NRM has an estimated 200,300 core members, with thousands of sympathizers across Scandinavia. While small in numbers, the group is highly organized and operates with a strict hierarchical structure. They spread their ideology through propaganda, protests, and violent attacks against minorities, political opponents, and law enforcement. Although there is no widespread evidence of direct law enforcement collaboration with the NRM, individual officers have been exposed for sympathizing with the group. In some cases, police have been criticized for failing to act decisively against NRM-led violence, leading to allegations of bias or leniency. Becoming a full member of the NRM requires proving unwavering commitment to its cause. Recruits are expected to attend rallies, distribute propaganda, and often participate in acts of intimidation or violence. Loyalty is tested over time, and members are expected to sever ties with outsiders who do not share their beliefs. The NRM has been linked to several high-profile violent incidents, including 2016 Gothenburg bombings. Members carried out bomb attacks targeting a left-wing bookstore, a refugee center, and a labor union office. Street violence. Members have assaulted journalists, activists, and civilians opposing their ideology. Murder of Joachim Carlson, 2012. An NRM-affiliated individual fatally stabbed a man in Sweden in what was deemed a hate crime. The NRM has connections with other far-right groups across Europe, including Blood and Honor and Combat 18. They also collaborate with neo-Nazi groups in Russia and the US. However, they maintain rivalries with anti-fascist organizations and frequently clash with leftist movements. Despite being outlawed in Finland, the NRM continues to operate in Sweden and Norway, though under heavy surveillance. Law enforcement has increased efforts to dismantle the group, arrest key members, and disrupt their activities. However, their ideology continues to attract followers, making them a persistent threat in the region. Last up, Russian National Unity, RNU, is a paramilitary neo-Nazi organization that emerged in the early 1990s, advocating for ultranationalism and racial purity. The group has been linked to violent attacks against ethnic minorities, political opponents, and foreign nationals. Despite being officially banned, RNU continues to have underground influence in Russia and beyond. The Russian National Unity Movement was founded in 1990 by Alexander Barkashov, a former Soviet military officer. Initially formed as a nationalist response to the collapse of the Soviet Union, the group quickly adopted neo-Nazi ideology, embracing anti-Semitism, xenophobia, and violent paramilitary tactics. Barkashov envisioned RNU as a force to restore Russian supremacy and eliminate perceived foreign and internal threats. At its peak in the 1990s, RNU boasted an estimated 5,000 to 20,000 members, with training camps in various parts of Russia. Though their numbers have dwindled due to government crackdowns, remnants of the group persist in underground networks and online communities. RNU's influence extends beyond street-level violence. Members have infiltrated political movements, law enforcement, and even the Russian military. The group has been known to recruit former soldiers, making them a dangerous, well-trained extremist faction. Over the years, investigations have revealed ties between RNU and certain elements within Russian law enforcement. Some officers have been accused of turning a blind eye to RNU's activities, while others have been suspected of active collaboration. Additionally, members of Russia's security services and military have been linked to RNU, providing them with combat training, weapons, and strategic knowledge. This connection has made RNU more resilient despite official bans. Joining RNU is not as simple as signing up for membership. Potential recruits must demonstrate strong ideological commitment to Russian ultranationalism, attend training sessions, including combat and weapons training, participate in violent actions, such as attacks on ethnic minorities or leftist activists, to prove loyalty, swear allegiance to the movement, committing to its cause for life. Leaving RNU is extremely difficult. Former members have reported threats, intimidation, and even physical retaliation against those attempting to distance themselves from the group. Russian national unity has been implicated in numerous hate crimes, assassinations, and violent attacks. Some of the most infamous include ethnic murders. RNU members have been responsible for the murders of migrants from the Caucasus, Central Asia, and Africa, often recording their attacks to spread fear. Terrorist attacks. The group has been linked to bombings targeting Jewish cultural centers, synagogues, and political offices. Political assassinations. RNU has reportedly carried out targeted killings of activists, journalists, and politicians opposing their ideology. 2002. Moscow riots. RNU members played a role in organizing violent anti-immigrant riots that led to mass assaults and looting. RNU has established ties with other far-right extremist groups worldwide, including Combat 18 and Blood and Honor in Europe, neo-Nazi factions in the United States, far-right, paramilitary groups in Eastern Europe. However, the group also has rivalries, particularly with Russian anti-fascist movements, Chechen militant groups, and government-backed nationalist organizations that view RNU as a threat to state control. Although officially banned by the Russian government in the early 2000s, RNU still operates in secret, particularly online and in underground nationalist circles. Many former members have joined Russian paramilitary units, including private military companies, PMCs, involved in conflicts such as Ukraine. The group's influence remains a concern for Russian authorities, especially as nationalism and far-right extremism continue to rise within the country. Law enforcement has cracked down on visible RNU activities, but its ideology and networks persist, making it a dangerous and adaptable threat. White supremacist gangs like the Aryan Brotherhood, Combat 18, Blood and Honor, the Nordic resistance movement, and Russian national unity continue to spread hate and violence across the world. Despite arrests, bans, and crackdowns, their influence remains a dangerous force in both underground circles and mainstream society. But history has shown that hate doesn't go unchallenged. Law enforcement agencies, anti-extremist organizations, and everyday people are fighting back, exposing these groups, preventing recruitment, and dismantling their operations. Stopping these gangs requires awareness, vigilance, and action. If you see extremist rhetoric spreading in your community or online, report it. If you know someone vulnerable to radicalization, help them find a way out before it's too late. Knowledge is power, and by understanding these groups, we can help stop them. If you found this video informative, make sure to like, share, and subscribe. Spread awareness, stay informed, and stand against hate. Together, we can make a difference.